Welcome to The Gathering, where we come together to explore and activate the kingdom within. This is a community where everyone gets to participate and your voice matters. Our focus is on awakening to our true identity and shedding the world's programming, then stepping into the power and authority that we were meant to carry in the first place. In Christ we find freedom, a life of purpose and exploration. No longer slaves to sin or grave. We're free to love in Jesus' name. Each week, we equip ourselves to rise above the darkness and reclaim the kingdom of love and bring that kingdom into this earth realm. Together, we're learning, growing, and living from the inside out and building a life and a community that reflects the fullness of God's kingdom. We hope you'll join us every week and bring your friends. Welcome to the journey.
Recording in progress.
Love that song. That's so good. I see everybody on Zoom kind of dancing away at it. So we are live today. So we are out on Facebook and YouTube, I think. So if anybody wants to double check that, make sure we're actually live. That would be awesome. But just want to welcome everybody and say thank you for joining. YouTube looks good. All right. But thank you for joining. Today we're going to be talking about what is love. Last week we were having a conversation and it came up that it would be good to define what does love look like. 'Cause obviously it's going to be a little bit different for everybody, and we really want to kind of get boil it down a little bit to find out, okay, what are the bare minimums? What are the pieces and the parts that we would like to say, okay, we want that definition of love, that part of the definition of love, to be a part of this community online, as well as the community that I'm building here in Mississippi. So that's going to be fun today. We'll get into that discussion in a little bit. I do want to remind everybody to mark your calendars for March 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's going to be a retreat called Untethered. It'll be here in Mississippi, and I know I've been saying that information would get out soon, and I really apologize. It's been some hang-ups on the technical side trying to get it set up right so that when people do come and register, that they get everything that they need. So hopefully that will be up this week, and I know I've said that probably the last 3 or 4 weeks, but it will happen. I can guarantee you that we are closer than we were before. That's a given. All right. So anyway, good to see all of you. Love you guys, and blessings to everyone. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, you can participate by putting your comments in there on Facebook and YouTube, and we will try to address them, try to read them if I can. And if you'd like to join us on Zoom, that information is there. If you go to kingdomequippingcenter.com/community, there's a Zoom link there for you to join us. And I love that because I love seeing everybody face to face, at least cyber face to face. That's always a plus, something better than nothing, right? So I don't have anything else, and I want to go ahead and jump in, but we're going to start with our meditation time. I do want to also just say, remind everybody, anybody new who's watching, this is listener supported. We are a 501c3, and so your donations are very, crucial to us keeping things moving forward. And I know in Zoom, John has just put that information into the chat area for anybody who wants to make a one-time or a monthly donation. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, please go to kingdomequippingcenter.com/giving, and all the information you need is there as well. Well, with all that being said, why don't we go ahead and enter into our meditation time? Is that all right? Everyone good? Anybody got anything? All right. We're doing it then. Here we go. And as I'm doing this, give me a thumbs down if you need the volume down of the music. If you want the volume of the music up, give me a thumbs up, and hopefully we'll have a fairly good consensus that I can see here on Zoom. All right, here we go. Right, so Just encourage everyone to get very, very comfortable, hopefully into a place and a space where you could actually fall asleep if you were that comfortable and inclined to do so. So 2 important things that are going to help you get more out of this meditation time is being very comfortable and doing the breathing. And the breathing is meant to be done through the mouth. It's a rapid breath in, and you breathe it into the diaphragm, and then breathe it in. The second part of that breath is breathing into your chest. It's all one inhale. Inhale into your abdomen, your diaphragm. Then the second part of that breath, inhale into your chest, feel your chest. And then your third breath is as if you're pulling that air into the center of your brain, into your head. And it's clearing all the energy centers all the way from the bottom to the top. When you take that last breath in, that is taking that into the head, I want you to imagine that clearing even up to your third eye chakra. And you're going to hold it for 3, 4, 5 seconds. Then as you blow it out, you're cleansing and clearing the crown chakra. So let's do a couple of those breaths. Go ahead and do the one now. Here we go. Let it out slowly. Okay, we're going to do another one, and I want you to just begin to relax your body. Just focus on letting all the tension in your body go. Another breath. I want you to focus on your feet. We go from our feet to our head, looking at relaxing, letting go of all the tension, each and every area. Let that tension go in your feet. Just begin to feel like your body is becoming a magnet, being drawn into the earth. Let the earth and the gravity do its work, and let's let it just draw you in. Don't fight it. Just let go of the tension. Let everything drop into its place as it finds that area of relaxation. Deep breath. Let it out slowly, and as you're doing so, I want you to relax your calves, your shins, and your knees. Just let everything fall into place. You're becoming like a wet noodle everywhere. Just letting everything rest. Deep breath. Relax your thighs, your hamstrings, your glutes, and your groin. Just let everything rest. You might even just wiggle around a little bit just to make sure you've let go of the tension. Deep breath. Relax your low back, your abdomen, your upper back, and your chest. Just let it all go. Let all the tension go. Move around just a hair, just a little bit, just to sense and feel where you might still have some tension in those areas, and let it go. Deep breath. Drop the shoulders. Relax your shoulders. Just drop them down. Relax your arms. Let them hang to your side. Relax your hands and your fingers. Release all the tension. Deep breath. Relax your neck. You might roll your head around a little bit. Just get that tension out of the neck. Relax it, let it go. Relax your cheeks, your jaw, your tongue. Relax your eyes and your eyebrows. Let everything just drop and come to a place of rest. Deep breath. Relax your forehead. Relax your scalp, even to the top of your head. Everything should be relaxed now. We're going to take one more deep breath, and I want you to check your entire body, see if there's anything that tensed up, in the process, and you're going to let it go. Deep breath. Relax everything. We're going to take another deep breath. We're going to let this one completely clear out all the thoughts in your mind, past, present, and future. Just let them go. Go ahead and take that deep breath into the head. Let that last part of that breath clear your brain, clear your thoughts. So now your brain is at rest as well. Just completely rest, completely relax. Let that breath completely out. Just be still for a moment. We're going to shift our focus into the spirit realm, where we're going to be taken directly into the Father's heart of love. The Father's heart of love. Just want you to enter into that space and that place. Whether you understand it or not, just enter into that space and that place. Father's heart of love. Because today we're going to talk about this love. What is it truly? How does it work in you? How does it work in your relationship with God? How does it work in relationship to others? And how does it work in relationship to all things? So the energy and the love of God permeates everything. So I want you to just take your arms and just spread them out wide, as if you're ready to receive whatever it is the universe wants to give to you. Whatever it is that Father is preparing for you, just open up your arms and be ready to receive it. And we're just going to kind of dive in deeper into the Father's heart. And so those of you who have done these meditations with me before, where we've gone into the ocean of the Father's love, joy, and peace, that same liquid love is what fills the Father's infinite heart. It's all one and the same. So I want you to go ahead and just let yourself, whether you see yourself doing a nesty plunge backwards or whether you're doing a dive into his heart, just completely let yourself go to receive the fullness of the effect of his heart, his DNA, his love, his joy and his peace, his goodness and his kindness, his patience, all the wonderful fruit, the harmony, the joy of being one with him. Deep breath. Just receive all of that he has for you. Receive it all. I want you to go deeper and deeper and deeper into his heart. I want you to receive that love, receive the joy, let it permeate every cell of your body. Even accept its changes to your epigenetic nature. Allow it to make those changes. Trust God. Trust him that the changes that he wants to make in you are for your good, for the good of all humanity. Trust him. And allow that love and that joy and that peace to permeate every cell and fiber of your being. Let it do its work. Let God have his way with you. Just keep those arms open wide just to receive just that position of openness where you've opened up your heart. You've opened up your thoughts. You're opening up your own DNA. You're choosing to receive the love of God into your DNA, into every cell and every fiber of your being. choosing to allow it to enter into you and to change you and to bless you. I want you to rest in that. And I want you to just for a moment, just be still. Just be still and receive what the Father is doing. Keep resting. Deep breath. And as you're letting this one out, check your body for tension. Let it go. And then refocus on what the Father is doing in you and through you. That as you're breathing this water, that you're underneath the water, you're in the Father's heart of love. It's a liquid love. You're breathing it in, and it's permeating every cell and every organ of your body. It's permeating you from the inside out and the outside in. God's got you covered. Got you fully and completely immersed in His love, in His joy, in His peace, in His rest, in His harmony, in His oneness. Completely receive. Choose to open yourself up and completely, with complete abandonment, receive whatever it is the Father wants to bless you with right now. Take another moment and rest. Let's take a deep breath, and as we let this one out, I want you to just go into that stillness again. Just completely rest and receive. Be aware of what the Father's doing in every cell of your body. Just choose to awaken to it. All right, so deep breath. Hold it for a few seconds. Let it out slowly. And just feel the Father's love. Sense that joy and that peace continuing to saturate every cell, every fiber of your being and your existence, in every realm, every dimension, in every form of time. Be still and receive. Mhm. Father, I thank you for what you're doing in each and every one of our hearts, in our lives, our bodies, even down to the epigenetic and DNA level. Everyone take a deep breath. Just rest. go ahead and we're going to shift our focus back here, back to your body. From here, we're going to open up a discussion about love, but just gently bring yourself back into this realm, into your body. Wiggle your toes, your hands. Stretch your neck a little bit. When you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. This is just to get us into a state and a place where we're ready to receive the revelation that the Father wants to give to us. The revelation that God has for us as we discuss what is love? What does it look like? What does true love look like? Another deep breath. Hope you all were blessed to enter into that. If you're on Facebook and YouTube, again, feel free to put something in the chat. If you have any questions, have any thoughts, have anything you'd like to share. And then I want to open it up to those on Zoom. And do keep in mind, those on Zoom, that we are live on Facebook and YouTube today. So if you want to share something, if you don't want to be seen on Facebook and YouTube, you can keep your camera off, or if you're okay, keep it on. I'd prefer you keep it on, but that's your choice. So anybody have anything they want to share? Any thoughts? I'm still taking my deep breaths. All right. Let me see if anybody's sharing anything on Facebook or YouTube. I'm not seeing anything, so let's go ahead and open up the discussion for what is love. Now, I know that you guys, some of you anyway, were on the Afterburn last week, and you went ahead and had a discussion on this already. So I'll be very curious to hear what you guys have come up with. And and I love doing it this way. I'd so much rather do this than come with a teaching and try to tell everybody how they should think about it. Much more fun, much more beautiful to hear different perspectives. And then, we all still get to choose in the end, what is it we really want to hold on to? Okay, so this is programming, all right? Just accept it. This program here is a program. It's programming. Everything we do, every conversation we have, our entire day, every second of it, there's some type of programming going on. So when we begin to understand that, then we begin to recognize that you can choose. What programming do you want to hold on to? And then what programming is causing you to maybe do some habitual things that is like, why do I do that? Okay, so we look at those things, we just discover those things, and we learn how to untether from those programs that have caused us to do things that we didn't want to, the things that are not beneficial to us, and we let those go. And I'm going to be doing hopefully a lot more of that one-on-one with people in the coming months. But for right now, this is programming. So let's hear what you guys came up with last week. I'd love to hear some of the concepts that you guys talked about. So raise your electronic hand and I'm waiting. Like, does anybody remember what you talked about?
No, but I can just open it up with just saying the 4 types of love according to the Greek interpretation in the Bible, and maybe that'll spark someone. Of course, the one that I believe covers all loves that we should all aspire to have, and that's agape. and that's the love of that the love that God is, not that He has, the love that He is, because He is love. Um, and that is the unconditional, selfless love that I I aspire personally, and pray that the whole universe aspires ultimately to have that type of love one for another. The other love is phileo, or philia, depending on your uh, whatever, because it's pronounced both.
Pronunciation.
Yeah,
Which
right.
teacher you were under?
Right, exactly.
What programming you got?
What programming you got? That is that word comes from the word Philadelphia, which is friendly. It's a love that you have. It's an affection that you have for your fellow man, a friendly type of love. And then there's storge, which is the family love, the kind of love that you have for your family or your immediate community, like with us. That would be a storge type of love. And then we have eros, of course, the sensual and passionate and sexual type of love. So, according to the Greek interpretation, there are those four types of love, but the one I believe that covers all of them is agape.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
I have
Thank
other
you.
things to say, but I just wanted to open it up with the
Yeah.
definitions. That's it.
No, that's good. That's good. All right. Thanks, Deneen. Go ahead, Larry and Debbie.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific either, but I was thinking of this throughout the week. There's something that came across. We can quantify it, and I think we quantify love through frequency, right? So we can put a number to it, levels of it in the sense of energetic flow and whatnot. But then there is what I was thinking of is word, which is recording it. We're writing it down, we're sharing it, we're absorbing it. Even by writing, we take in information, and then we're literally experiencing it. We can experience it through walks, we can experience it through relationship, we can so I think there is a true love when we say beauty. So when I'm saying go for a walk, you see all these beautiful things. You usually try to walk in a place that has something that you want to enjoy. And so I just think just those three ways that I'm experiencing it, I'm measuring it, I am writing it, I'm recording it. Like I say, we're talking about programming and a lot of this. What do I choose to participate in? And staying in the frequency of love allows us to appreciate actually a lot of things that around us that may not always be pleasant, but I think there is a way of experiencing unpleasant things in love that actually brings about good for us. So if Debbie has anything else.
Hallelujah. So I'm just going to share what I experienced when we were in meditation or prayer, however you see that. I went into my secret place of the Most High, and normally it's just a white, warm light, brilliant white light. And today, for some reason, it was pink. It was a pink light, and it looked like a cell.
Cool.
And I saw that as the cells in my body. It's about as far as that went. But as far as love is concerned, doing that is what I see as love. That's love. My communication with God, my individual, personal, intimate communication, resting in that peace. That's love. And when I do that, take a Selah and rest in the love of God, I can come out of that place and into the physical, and then I'm carrying that love within me. So everywhere I go, I'm bringing that love to the situation, and that resonates the peace of Christ in everything I do, everything around me. So love flows within me, it flows through me, flows around me. So that's pretty much my view of love.
Oh, I love that. That is beautiful. And Debbie, as you were, speaking, just the thought occurred that, when we take time to be present, in the moment, that is one of the highest levels and forms of love I think that we can have, is when we take time to stop and be present in the moment. Because whatever that moment holds, you're honoring it, you're giving it your time, you're giving it your attention. And it's just a really beautiful thing. And it takes time for us to slow down, to choose to slow down, to step into that frequency of love. Because in my opinion, that frequency of love, even though, they measure it and it's a really high frequency and all that, I think everybody knows that, that's kind of a made up scale. It's not a scientific thing. For me, the frequency of love is very low. It's very slow. It's very, it's a space where there's time. It's as if, all the cells bouncing around. I see this, just a vision I kind of have of it. It's like, when we're going so fast, the cells are bouncing around so hard that you can't get anything done. So imagine, trying to find something here. Just take something solid and hard and dense. The cells or the atoms and so forth in there are moving so hard and so fast. That's why it feels so hard and heavy, because they're dense, they're all close together, versus something that is very loose and slow. You can go in between, like water and air. My hand can run between the molecules of the air. It can run between. It's like there's time and there's space for other things. And when we slow down into the moment and slow our frequency down, we make time and space for other things to enter in and be part of my life now. It's like, oh, that's so beautiful. Versus just running so hard and so fast that it's like there's no time for anything else. Everything else just gets slapped away, batted away. But when I can slow down, there's that space of, ooh, now I can receive. I can receive God's love.
That's really resonating in love
Mm,
and communicating in love. When that space
is.
is there, it's love.
It's beautiful. It's making space. Yeah, love that. Anyway, thank you, Debbie. That was beautiful. All right, Marilee, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Well, that was really beautiful, Debbie and Gil. That to me is the real place of love, in that frequency. So, however, I'm very much in a place of allowing Father to, I don't want to use the word deconstruct, but
I hear you.
Undo the programming, undo the concepts, undo everything I know in my mind, and to bring me to a place of complete authenticity of how He has put me together, and what love will look through me. Not because I'm so important, just simply because He made me unique. And I will be at my most loving when it's expressed through exactly who He created me to be. So I'm really on a quest at this point in time to step into my authenticity.
Come on, there you go.
In Christ.
Yeah. Marilee, I mean, that is so right on. And this last weekend, I kind of had discussions along those lines with several different people about, and I've shared it here as well before, but the world isn't looking for the universe. I'm going to say the universe. The entire universe is not looking for you to be like somebody else. It's not looking for you to measure up to all the programming that the world and other people have put on you. That's not what the universe is looking for. The universe created you for you to be you in order so that you could bless us and bless the universe with your true self. That you can't be your true self when you're trying to measure up to somebody else's programming, or you're trying to be like somebody else. I mean, whenever we're comparing ourselves, we're not being authentic. Just be you. It's a beautiful thing to just be you. I love that.
I think most of us don't know who we truly are because we have been so heavily programmed. And yeah, I feel as if I'm peeling off layers of stuff and that I don't recognize some of the layers because it's underneath something else that first has to go before the next layer.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how long this process is going to take. That's my journey for now.
I'm completely with you, 100% with you. I do not feel comfortable at all in saying that journey of untethering and uncovering is an eternal one, an infinite one. No, maybe a long one, but I have a hard time saying it's infinite. I do believe that we will arrive at a place where we are complete as to who we are meant to be. Doesn't mean that we will continue to grow. There will be a lot of growth eternally. That's infinite. That's eternal. We will continue to grow. But unraveling all the programming that we've received, it's a journey, and it's beautiful to be in community that understands it, and where we can kind of, iron sharpening iron and helping one another expose some of those programmed areas that maybe we weren't seeing before, that we were getting blindsided by. But it's a journey. It's a beautiful journey. We can choose to see it as a beautiful journey, even with all of its challenges. That is our choice. Yeah, very good, Marilee. Thank you so much. Thank you. I was going to share Uriah from YouTube says, Christ as love in you. Jesus said the hallmark of following him is that we love each other, and then that we love one another. So very, very, very true. That was the hallmark. Jesus said we'd be known by our love for one another, not by how much we know. Not that you have, an esoteric knowledge that is above and beyond everybody else. Not that you have all the right answers. None of that. It's simply the understanding that I can learn to love you, and that's ideally what we're going to, continue to learn to do in this community. I'm still looking for and hoping to find people of other faiths that are going to start joining this community, where they feel comfortable, being part of this community, not feeling like they're going to be, somebody's going to start trying to convert them or anything like that, of any, that nature, but rather that they can come here freely and we can learn from one another. Because if you don't think you can learn from somebody that's got a different faith, a different belief system, well, that's, to me, that's a little bit arrogant, that we think we have all the truth and the only truth, and that nobody else has anything to offer us. I'm excited whenever I get a chance to talk to atheists or Buddhists or Hindu or whoever. I want to understand why they are, doing the things that they do, why they believe the things that they believe. I want to understand it, and I want to pull the best of all of it. The best of Buddhism, the best of Hindu, the best of Christianity, the best of what Jesus taught, the best of the best, and bring it all together to where we have a community that is, living in that harmony and living in that blessing. So, all right, John and Evelyn, go ahead. Thank you, Marilee.
Just some comments on love. God is love. We know this, at least theologically. And so I look for the Jesus inside of people, whether they know it or not.
Right.
God inside them, and look for that love space in them. And try to keep myself from, well, for instance, there's huge fires in the southern part of California. And so if you go on social media, there'll be a lot of comments that are, let's say, negative towards wealthy people or Hollywood stars or so forth who lost their house. And there's a lot of, oh, boo-hoo, because they don't see Jesus. They don't see them as people.
Right.
They see them as, something else that and there's an envy that, if you go to Corinthians, love does not envy. It
Right.
doesn't boast. It's not proud. It's not rude. And so my goal is to not be the person who's going to judge people based on my perception of them, even
Come
though I
on.
don't know them.
Come
Instead,
on.
wanting to see Jesus in them and connect with that love and embrace it and enhance it and grow it.
Yeah.
And so that's my take on it. And it's hard to do sometimes. There are some people where it's really hard to look. And I think I was in another group talking about that, but you endeavor to do that anyway. And then if you're having trouble, ask God, why am I having trouble loving this person? And this will change your life, because when you go to the grocery store, for instance, or some other store, and here's the beleaguered clerk who's been helping people on and on and on, I can see Jesus in them and I can love them and make some kind of loving comment that God promotes in my heart to reach them and encourage them in their day. So there you go. That's my
So good. Yeah, and John, we were in another group this last week, Thursday night, talking about that, and it's like, what about the unlovable person? What about that person that's like, seems like everybody has a hard time loving that person? Well, you can almost be guaranteed that the reason that they're unlovable is because of societal programming. And they're not fitting into the programming that society has given to them. And everybody around them is fitting into that box. And they judge and perceive that person according to the programming that they've been given. And then aside from that, then you get into preferences. It's like, well, I don't like it when someone eats with their mouth open, and so they're, now I'm offended because someone's eating with their mouth open, and that's my preference, and that's my problem. If I'm offended that somebody's eating with their mouth open, that's my problem. It really is. And it may be a lot of other people's problems, because that was a common programming for a lot of people growing up, etiquette at the table, etiquette out on the street, etiquette. Who sets up the etiquette? It's all programming. Somebody had enough influence to program everybody and say, we should do it this way. Now, at the same time, if you're in a group, and if you're in a community, your community is going to sit down and come up with some things that they feel are, going to be the best for the community. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially if everyone agrees with it. Again, it's like we're all under programming. Just what programming do we want to be under? Do I want to be part of that community because they have these things that they feel are necessary to be part of that community? If I agree with it, sure, I'm going to be excited to be part of that community, that programming. But if they have things that don't fit, well, I may not want to be part of that community because it's not fitting my preferences. And so I'm going to go somewhere else. That's life. It's all programming. We get to choose what part of it we want to hold on to and what we want to let go of. But yeah, those unlovable people, sometimes I just need to look at my own preferences and let them go so that I can ideally enjoy them and love them just as God does, even though they may not fit the standard paradigm of whatever community I'm in. It's good. Thank you, John. All right, Deneen, go ahead.
Yes. I just want to say, Debbie, the thing that resonated with me and with what you were saying is the abiding in God. Because I remember reading in First John, John the beloved of Christ, one of the ones that, I guess because of his age stuck very close underneath him. I don't know this for a fact, but my hypothesis on the reason why he called him his beloved. His statement was that God is love, but he didn't stop there. That's one thing that I hear people say all the time. But he said that we are perfected in love. We are perfected in love when we abide in him and he abides in us. And when you said that, that brought that to the forefront of my mind, that my abiding in him and him abiding in me makes us one. And because he is love, then that means that I am love as well. Now, Marilee talked about the layering of that which we actually are. And when we are not walking in it or or displaying it, it's because of the previous interruptions, because he created us in his image, right? So if he created us in his image, that means that who he is, so am I. Like John came to the, his conclusion. I guess it was a conclusion, but it was one of the things that he said in his lifetime, and it was penned. I really, from my experience, am coming to believe that that is a fact, because the more I release, I'm released from those things that are in opposition to what I've come to believe love is, a selfless, unconditional, sacrificial giving of myself, right? I observed some of the things that I've read, because I wasn't there physically, but it's starting to resonate in my spirit, the life that Christ lived in the earth. And the more I open myself up to the truth, it resonates in me in a way that I'm able to take a risk and have it a part of my personal experience by just walking it out, doing some of the things, demonstrating that type of love to others. And it starts to become, the more I practice it, when I'm testing it, it actually becomes so a part of me that I don't have to consciously even do anything. It's just something that it exudes out of me without thinking. It's not a part of my conscious mind. It's a part of my subconscious, if we want to, divide the two, because I just don't believe in linear thinking personally. But however, for conversation's sake, right?
Yeah.
That I become one with the one who is. And then as a result of that, you guys and others are able to receive that love from him, because he's in all of us, but I'm allowing him to permeate through all of these layers of stuff, and it's able to be visualized and experienced by others because of my existence. And like you said, Marley, it's not because I'm better than, it's because of an awareness that I've come to, even the articulation of it is not even adequate for what I have been experiencing, as far as allowing the love of Christ, as we call it, or the love of God, come through me. So my experience is that the abiding, and it comes in solitude, and it comes in public. It's like it's always there. And one of the indications, and I'll stop here, is that I'm no longer operating. And I heard you Thursday, Gil, talk about, it's not much you fear. When I'm operating in fear, I'm actually at a less mature place in my development. It's not like I'm in opposition to God. I just have not matured to a place of operating in a perfected place in love, right?
And
Because
trust, yeah.
love, it torments. Love eliminate. Love, fear torments, and fear eliminates the perfection that God brings. Because when I'm operating in love, then I'm trusting. I'm trusting that he knows and that he's got me, and that I don't have to worry about anything material or external, because I am the very essence of who he is, and he's got everything under control. And he is not gender oriented, for those who may be triggered by that. These days you got to qualify everything you say, right? Because everybody's got a perspective.
Exactly.
So I hope it made sense, because I don't talk about this much, but this is just how I live. This is who I'm becoming and stuff. And sometimes I don't sit around and discuss it. So I'm trying, the best I could. I hope you guys understood.
That's good. So good. Thank you, Deneen. By the way, everybody, Deneen is going to be leading next week. I will be on, I'll be traveling. So Deneen's going to be leading next week. So don't miss that. Make sure you're here. blessings to you, Deneen, and your leading of that, and thank you so much. All right, John, go ahead.
Yep. Thank you. I'd like to touch on, you said something about some people are unlovable. And like, why do we think that some people are unlovable? The thing that came to me was that when we see something that we think is unlovable, it's probably something in me that I don't love about myself that is highlighting. And so that's kind of
talking about the
how I put
mirror.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the mirror.
Yeah. Huh.
'Cause it's like love does not judge. So when you're judging, you're really pointing your finger back at yourself, because if you see something in somebody else, it's probably because you see it in yourself, but you're not even aware of it, that it's in you, and it's just coming
Yeah.
out in a way that
It's interesting.
that's what thinking has a problem. There's a problem with thinking, because thinking always conjures up what is in the past or what is in the future.
Yeah.
So if we stop thinking and live out of our I am,
It's that living in the
and
moment,
accept
space.
people where they're at, then it'll be more likely that they will accept you as well where you're at.
Yeah, that's good. Good. I played a song on Thursday night in our group that we have, and one of the lines in it, in fact, it was the main line that I wanted everybody to hear in that song, was that if you don't feel like you're enough, I'm going to break all your mirrors. And I love that line. It's so good. It's just like, you're looking in the wrong mirror. If you don't think you're enough, you're looking in the wrong mirror, and you're looking, and potentially, again, like what you just said, is that you're looking at someone and seeing something in yourself that you don't like. And it's just like, we need to break that off. We need to break
And
it
it's
off.
really
and
an
get into that space
illusion.
of love.
It's an illusion that we're
Yeah.
seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, very good. Very good. Let me check to see if there's anybody writing anything over here. Kamal says, unlovable person. We love them differently. Yeah. I guess in some ways that may be true, that we, in our perception and how we approach things, we may love them differently. I don't believe God loves them differently. I don't know that we're meant to love them differently. I have to be different if I'm going to love them, because I have to let go of all my preferences and my perceived ideas of the way things should be and the way they should be. And I got to let go of all that. I definitely have to become different to love them, and yet not to think that they're less than. If they're unlovable, again, I need to think about what is in me that doesn't allow me to love them the way they are, because I know God's loving them the way they are. Now, does that mean that there's not improvements that could be made? Hey, that's true for all of us. We all can use some time for improvement, but at the same time, it's not a measuring up. It's just simply, to me, it's just sinking deeper into love and being more loving, being more kind, being more of the fruit of the Spirit that God is and that He has for us. Marilee, go ahead. Go ahead, John.
I'm just going to say something, what you were saying there. I think it's that we're uncomfortable with certain looks of people, and then we don't know how to properly love them, because we're out of our comfort zone. So it makes it hard. We'd rather avoid it than face it. So we walk by and let this homeless person in their misery without trying to lift them up to where their heart really is deep down inside.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
That's all I want.
Thank you. All right, Marilee, go ahead.
John, you You talked about living from your I amness there, and it made me think of the scripture that says, I am a new creation. But my old creation, it's gone when I choose for it to be gone. Otherwise, it's very much still with me. Gil, I don't know whether you can remember that picture that I posted once of a tree, an old tree on the outside, breaking, the bark coming off, and right in the center of that old tree, a new tree.
Right. I do remember that.
Yeah. And for me, that is the picture of that right out of the core of my being, my new self, my Christ self is busy shaping, forming. Paul says, I am in labor for you until Christ be formed in you. So that's true Christ self is growing, and it's kind of consuming the old self, that program, that it's a very difficult concept to try and explain, but it's something I understand inside of myself. And I think I always used to get very upset when people in the church would say to imitate Christ. And there is a verse that is translated like that. I can't imitate Christ. There is no way. He must be formed in me. I mean, the Christ seed have fallen into my innermost being. And that is what is growing if I feed it, but even not if I feed it, because it doesn't depend on me. God said the good work he started in us, he will also complete. And that's my authenticity.
Yeah.
Is that it's not trying to conform my flesh self, which, by the way, must also be transformed. Or that's what I personally believe. I believe in the resurrection of the spirit and soul and body. But that's a personal belief. But I believe everything must be Christified, to put it that way. Everything in me. And love that flows from the Christ in me is authentic and genuine. Love that I try and put on is not authentic. It's not life-giving. It's the wrong tree. It's from that tree that's falling off on the outside. I believe Christ was crucified on the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And in being crucified on that tree, because the disciples never spoke of the cross, they spoke of the tree. So in that he crucified that tree of knowledge of good and evil. And he himself is the tree of life. So that's all very, very spiritual, not very practical, but yeah. I just want to,
Love that. Thank you, Mary Lee. Thank you. Kamal from Kenya says, it's our perspective of love towards them that needs to change. Our relationship with them could be different. With those we are able to get along with, our expression of love and relationships would be different. Very good. All right. Let me get back to see who else. Anybody else have anything? Oh, Debbie and Larry, go ahead.
The expression of love that comes through me. And Mary Lee, you took the words right out of my mouth. Oh my goodness. I don't know how many years I tried to beat myself up and make myself be nice and produce all the fruits of the Spirit and kindness, and just all of them, gentleness. All of that. And the more I tried to make myself do it, the worse I would be anxious. I would be so anxious over it. it just did not work for me. And I find that as I rest and I communicate with God in my secret place, and I totally believe that the Spirit of God is within me. And that was a big difference. I used to think God was out here and so big, and now I focus. I know that God is everywhere, but I focus upon the God that is within me. Keep my peace of His peace. And after resting in there, or as I rest in there, it's a no-brainer. I just produce the fruits of the Spirit. It's a byproduct,
Yeah.
and I love it. It is
So good.
applicable for me.
So good. Very, very good. Well, so, the other thing I would look at is what comes with love. All right. So if we are actually operating in the power of love, what comes with that? And some things I can think of that just so you get an idea of what I'm thinking about is, I believe humility. Humility comes with love. The joy comes with love. The peace will come with love. There's a lot of things that kind of follow right behind love, that when we are able to step into the power of God's love and we're able to rest in it and let it do its work in and through us, that there's so many other things that come with that. And humility is a big one that gets left out a lot. And I feel like that when we are truly walking in love, there is a massive level of humility that comes with that. And it's part of what gives space. We were talking about the space earlier. It's part of what gives that space, so that other thoughts and other ideas can come into that God can bring something, whether it's through himself coming from a download from above, or whether it's through other people that he brings in. And again, it's why I want to bring other perspectives from other different, people that think differently. I want to bring that into this community in order to, test us, stretch us, allow us to be in a place where we're actually being tested with that. We talk about it. We're in this community. We talk about it a lot, but how often do we actually get to be immersed in it, actually do it? And so eventually we will have some people on here that will come on and they will test your ability to be humble and recognize that maybe I don't have all the answers. Maybe there is another way to look at this. Maybe God has shown another group of people a different way to approach love. So anyway, it's just humility to accept that I may not be 100% right on everything. And I know that. And I know that none of us are 100% right on anything. And the people that assume and think that they are 100% right, I'm going to go the other way. Because they're not going to be, the people that are going to be good for community. But anyway, so what are your thoughts? Deneen, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good segue into some of my experiences with love. I in my journey, and even amongst my journey within Kingdom Equipping Center, I have experienced, because I deal in nobody that's that I'm close with, so I'm not talking about you guys, but I've experienced being treated differently. I've been spoken to in a condescending way, right? And nobody would know this if I would not, open up and say this, because my response is not out in a retaliatory way, right? Because it does. I found that once you start knowing who you are a little bit more and a little bit more, outside definitions are so irrelevant, or outside views of you really no longer matter, right? So one of the things I believe that come from this integration with love is self-identity. As Marilee talked about, my authentic self. Once I learn who I am less combative with those who have different views. I'm less combative with those who may not favor me as a human being. And I feel sometimes like saying, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, And I found that saying that is not because I'm trying to be above, but out of the sincerity of my heart. I'm not saying it like the Southern sarcastic statement, bless your heart, kind of thing, right?
Right.
I'm saying it because I sincerely desire for us as humanity to learn the precepts and statutes of the one who created us, to really learn who he is and learn who she is and learn who they are as a heavenly family, and learn who we are as a heavenly family, and learn who we are individually. And that's a thing that has been a part of my desire since I was a teen, right? It didn't just come because of church hurts, because when I had church hurts, let me tell you, I stood still in that and stayed for 7 years through it. And that's not because I'm a martyr. It was because God had not released me. And he didn't release me because I had communication with him, and he kept saying, stand still. And as a result of me standing still, I matured. As a result of me standing still, I didn't have to repeat the visceral anger that I had towards the people that had the audacity to be so mean to me, right?
Yeah.
But I ended up learning to love them. And as a result, I think probably 90, maybe 100% of the people and I get along to this day. I'm no longer there, but the love of Christ compels. The love of Christ constrains. And I believe that love covers a multitude of sin. I'm telling you, all of those things that we've read from patriarchs of old, not all of them, all of the things, but many of the things. Let me not be so absolute with that. I have found, to be things that I can identify with once I was tested. And you brought that up, Gil. Until we're tested, we don't really know what we're made of, right? We find out when we are 40 years in the wilderness, or 40 days in the wilderness, or whichever one we end up being. Personally, I think that I had both of those experiences, 40 days and 40 years. Right? And as a result, I've got a deeper understanding or glimpse into the depth, height, and width of what this love is all about and stuff. So yeah, I mean, some of the things you guys would not believe that I've had to endure. I mean, I've had subtle racism amongst people that It has come to me, but I didn't. I chose to be still, and because I'm a confronter. That's my way. Those of you who know, look, John's shaking his head. I don't usually, make pretend stuff doesn't happen. You know how we were taught in Christendom to not, make waves and just smile.
Yeah.
The thing that I do is confront the evil because I wanted to be dissolved. And I'm not going to pretend, because that means I'm hurting myself, and I'm not really taking good love care of myself.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, I'm pretending, and I'm not being my authentic self, and I get an ulcer or have a stroke, or have a stomach ache, or some sciatica that came. I don't know, which that probably came from my family situation. Right?
Stress. It's all stress.
Right, stress. Right.
Yeah.
Stuff. And so those kinds of things, guys, I just think that it's important that we don't lie to ourselves, because they unable into the beauty of what love is. We don't have to be, angry or argumentative, but we do need to address things that are going to cause harm to ourselves, or ultimately harm to others. And we do it in a loving way. Even Jesus in some of his teachings said, if you have with your brother, go to him. You don't just pretend that it doesn't exist. Go to them. And if you have a problem, then, bring somebody else in that's more objective, that may be able to help the situation. But all of those things, I believe, are producers of love. We have to, I believe, if we want it, we don't have to do anything. But I believe if we want to see the manifestation of love, then there's a lot of moving parts that we have to deal with and stuff, and not just overlook things and say, well, I don't have to deal with that. But every single thing that we're confronted with, I believe, helps us. It's an aid to help us to move into a more beautiful place, into a place of pure of perfection and love. So, yeah.
Love it. Love it. So good. So good. All right. Anyone else got anything to share? I would be curious to hear what your thoughts are in, what does love look like in community? Because that's kind of where I was headed at. And I think that was the original question as to what does love look like? Because if you're going to have a community that is based off of love, joy, and peace, I actually need to define all of those. What does that look like? Because love to one person is definitely can be something different than what somebody else might think. So what does that look like? Larry and Debbie, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Well, Larry says he's not going to be in a community where anyone chews with their mouth open.
Hey, I know people that way. I do. I used to be that way. I won't go into the stories, but yeah, I used to just, like fingernails on a chalkboard. But I've gotten over it for the most part. Because I realize it is a preference. It is my preference. It's what I was taught and programmed with, and I've chosen to let it go. And for the most part, I think I have. Anyway, go ahead.
And yeah, it kind of helps me to think about people expressing their love. I mean, so many people express love in so many different ways.
They do.
And
yeah.
Recently there was a situation where someone very close to me was upset and beating herself up, and I wanted to give her a hug. That was me expressing my love, and she was like, "No, don't hug me. I'm better when I have my space around me." So
yeah.
People receive and reject and do everything according to how they're managing. And remember that I'm managing too. And sometimes we just need to take a Selah.
Well, and that, what you're sharing there is a lot, along the lines of the love language. What is your love language? How do you receive love? And someone who doesn't receive love through touch is not going to want to be touched, versus the person who loves being touched, then they're going to want that hug, and it's going to mean a lot to them. It's just understanding that, and something that probably in a community, a physical community where you're together, it would be very wise. Actually, in the online community as well, because a lot of those love languages are like words of affirmation, which can be done easily over video and text and so forth. So yeah, it's the touch one that's kind of hard to do through the video and text. But anyway, it's just, what's that?
Larry had something too.
Okay, go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, I just wanted to. One of the reasons I love this community so much is because we've tried to do better about not being right all the. You have to be this way to be a part of the club, and if you're not this way, then you don't get to be a part of the club. And what you've said it a couple of different ways today is it's that arguing mentality that we've been brought up with, that this is what it says and this is the only thing that it says, speaking of the Bible. And I think there's beauty, absolute beauty and truth. But I'm starting to understand what people mean when they say my truth, because there's something about the way I see it and the way I understand it that
it's
is
authenticity.
True. Yeah, and I think it's authenticity, right? Mm-hmm. And it's my little piece. If you can begin to understand my little piece, then you've just expanded yourself. And we can only do this with and around each other, but we can't do it by trying to convince them that there's, that my way is the good way and your way is that way. That I so love this community because we have come a long ways within that mindset. So.
Yeah, and that whole thing of standing in my truth, I think is, there may be some communities that are doing it a lot better than others, but I think it's something that humanity is learning to deal with right now. Because when someone does say, well, I'm standing in my truth, and they're like just being stubborn, and the whole community is like, what do you mean? It's like, so how do we handle something like that when someone is trying to be authentic and they're trying to live out their authenticity, and it's just going flat out up against everything else the community believes. Well, to me, that's an awesome opportunity for the community to learn to love and for everybody to grow, because it doesn't mean necessarily that you give in to that one person's standing in their truth. That one person may also have to learn that, okay, this me standing in this truth at this moment, at this time, is not necessarily going to be something the community is going to be willing to accept. And we have to be willing to accept that. Now, maybe there's another time, 6 months or a year or two down the road, where it will be acceptable, because how many things have all of us accepted today that we didn't accept 5-10 years ago? So a lot of it is timing, and a lot of it is just the journey and understanding, where we're at in that journey with one another.
And I also see that as part of my direction or my discernment, where to go, where not to go, where to hang, where not to hang. I mean, it's very individual. I don't think there's a blanket answer for everyone at all.
But the beautiful thing that I think is healthy about a community is everybody in the community has to be willing to give up and to let go of some things. Because, again, if we all were able to let go of all of our preferences, we were able to let go of everything to where we were unoffendable, we could fit into any community anywhere. But it's our own preferences that keep us from being able to fit into every community everywhere, because we have preferences and expectations that, we're not obviously ready to let go of. And we're all still on the journey. So it's finding communities that fit the best, and hopefully we can all grow together into that place of unoffendability. But it's a journey, and I don't know anybody who's arrived.
As the group gets larger, we find the places that we participate, right? We don't have to participate in every aspect of a group dynamic, but we find the place that we fit in and enjoy it, and then allow ourselves to be stretched. It's like, oh, well, I never tried that before. I guess I'll try it since it's convenient here to try. And then you find out that you absolutely love it. So I think as a group expands, we can expand each other, do the things you feel comfortable doing, talk about the things you feel comfortable talking, use the language that you want to use. If people still want to come in here and speak, a church language, I'm not opposed to it until you become argumentative with somebody else's belief. That's where, and again, I think we have to leave some leeway for that, realizing, okay, this is where they are, and they need to, hold those truths to be truth for themselves. them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be fun. I absolutely think this is going to be a fun journey.
I'm excited. So please, all of you, be willing and looking for those people, that are, like I said, Muslim, atheist, Buddhist, whatever, and invite them. Say, hey, you want to check out a community that's we're all trying to learn how to love one another, even though we have different beliefs. And and the bigger thing I'm looking for too is that I want to, like I said, the best of what the Buddhists have to bring, the best of even the atheist. If the atheist knows how to love, that's God. So let's pick their brains, figure out, how did you learn to love without accepting, that there's a God, and yet you love so well, which is God. You probably can't tell them that, but it's like, here's my perception. My perception is you already know God. You're already engaged with God, and then have that conversation. That's what I love doing. It's having those conversations.
Because they're usually rejecting their religion. They're not really rejecting love. And we had to overcome this religion stuff
or
too.
my perception of religion.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. John Weens, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Mary Lee, go ahead.
I'm just going to interject here. Sorry, I'm being rude.
Yeah, it is totally outside of this community. No, go ahead. I'm teasing.
I just wanted to say what William Paul Young says to atheists. He asks them, what is their perception of God? Why are they atheists? And usually he tells them, when they've told him, says, oh, that God, I don't believe in him either.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, it's good. Good. All right, John Weens, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, Gil, I think you're a good guy to lead a community like this.
Thank you.
my perception is that in a community that loves each other, you're never going to have a community where everybody's going to think the same way or agree on
Right.
everything.
And you don't want
But
that.
I think where love, where you see the demonstration of love is when two people who violently disagree with each other, instead of insisting on either of them being right, like Larry intimated into, that
Mhm.
they come from the point of trying to understand each other, where they're coming from, why they believe
Exactly. That's
think
the
this
beautiful.
way,
Mhm.
and then you can have this conversation without getting heated up and
Yeah.
stirring up, you know, hate and whatever happens sometimes when these discussions happen between
Yeah.
groups who are having a demonstration for this, and then the opposing one has a different one, and they end up having a big fight.
And
Whereas
that's
love,
encouraged in higher education, right? College debates. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not interested in debating. I'm interested in learning.
that
So
it's trying to understand and with love, and yeah, okay, I see why you think that way, but I think this way because of this, and okay, I see, and that
very
way
good.
I think we learn to love one another better when we try to understand each other instead of disagreeing with it. Well, you're wrong, and you're heading down to hell or whatever.
Hey, I've taken so many trips there this last year,
No
according to everybody I've
dogmatic.
talked to. It's amazing.
No dogmatic is allowed.
Right.
In a
Yeah, and that's very
community
true.
where
And I
love
don't
would flourish.
and I don't care, for the community here or any part of the online community or here in person. That's the main thing. Is there no dogma and nobody trying to proselytize, because that means you think your way is the better way. I don't mind people sharing. We want to learn from one another, but trying to twist and tweak people into agreeing with them so that they can win the argument is not
Right.
kosher.
So, like, if I think I'm right on a certain thing, well, once we have discussion, 5 minutes later, I might not think I'm right anymore.
Exactly. But if if
how we grow.
Yeah. However, if a person's
Right.
identity is tied to them feeling like they've got to win the argument so that they have value, that's a terrible place to be. And that's where a lot of people are, is they feel like they have to win the argument in order to have value. And therefore, that's more important to win the argument than it is to actually just love and learn from one another as we share and grow.
And then all they do is they're building up stress in their being, and then they
Yeah. Well, I got a couple here from Uriah. It says, embracing what we don't know, like about embracing what we don't like about others is embracing what we don't like about ourselves. Love is following the paths of righteousness. It's fiery. And then he says, laugh out loud, embracing the open mouth, releasing and taking in the awkward. Yeah. It's, we have to be willing to, again, let go of some of our own preferences and so forth in order to love well. It's oftentimes on us, not necessarily on them. All right, John and Evelyn, go ahead. Thank you, John Weens.
Now, hopefully my internet's going to allow me to speak.
It was a little choppy.
It is.
But you're okay now. No, you're okay now.
My Aunt Elaine will join Larry's community where you don't chew with your mouth open.
Chew ice.
Or chew ice.
That's even worse.
Yep, they're right there. They're all together.
Right. I would say about 2 years ago or a year ago or something, I lost my stuff in a conversation with someone, and it wasn't pretty. And so I beat myself up for that for months. And when I quit hating myself for stirring up that mess, I had a conversation with God, and He says, "Are you done?" Have you forgiven yourself? Okay. And then he said, you could have been more elegant, but what you said needed to be said. And I was like, God said that to me. And I had this idea that I was way out of line. And so I was only partially out of line.
Right.
We have to love our kids. We have to not condemn ourselves in order to grow. And that's what I had to say there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Wow. Well, we're about out of time, and I just want to thank each and every one of you for being part today, and encourage you to bring more people next week. Deneen's going to be leading the way. So again, thank you, Deneen. Bless you. Bless you. And I look forward to coming back in a couple weeks. Please invite people. This is a place where I really want us to be able to test our ability to love people of different faiths and different beliefs. So invite people onto the Zoom call. I really want them to come on the Zoom call. Anybody who's brave enough, because it will take a little bravery for someone that's of a different faith to step in a community like this, because it's like their experiences probably have not been that great with other groups, right? So we need some people that, hopefully we have relationship with them enough that they feel safe enough to come into this group and experience, hopefully, the love of God. And I would love to see more people coming in of different faiths, and that we get to hear their perspectives. Their perspective today on this subject would have been absolutely phenomenal. I would have loved to hear, how people of different faiths or no faith, everybody's got a faith, even if it's atheism, it's still there. It's what they're believing in, humanism and so forth. I want to hear, how do they describe love, and what does it look and feel like to them? Debbie and Larry, go ahead.
I just want to give a good report. Deneen's class on Monday. Now it's only going to be once a month, so it's going to be not until February till the next class. But I really feel like if anybody feels that they struggle with authenticity or want to know more about what authenticity is, Deneen's class is going to be someplace to go. We had an amazing conversation, and it's all about her book, and I'll let her do that kind of explaining at some time. But the dynamic, the ability to share was just very much like this. And, Deneen shared a few comments and then opened it up to discussion. But it was very touching. And I really, especially about authenticity, transparency, all those kind of topics, I really feel like, and I think it is a huge community problem because we don't know who we are, and we're not even on a path to discover who we are. We live behind this fear wall, or the church.
Yeah.
Everyone else thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. It's amazing. Just first class was awesome. That's what I keep the report.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. So glad to hear it. And I just want to, I'll add to that, along the lines of authenticity is that, there's a lot of, we might even say mature people moving toward authenticity, but I'm recognizing that we're still a long ways off. Part of what I would see in a healthy, authentic community is the ability for people to be able to share absolutely 100% transparently and feel safe doing so. I've not been there. I've only met maybe 2 or 3 people in my lifetime that I could do that with. I've never been in a community that could do that. And I think it could be it's going to be messy if there's anybody in those groups that are not ready for authenticity. Because, I'm talking about sharing things and thoughts that come in, that come into my head is like, well, that's horrible. I just had this thought and I want to bring it out to the light, everybody. And let's, maybe everybody, somebody here can help me in this area where I'm thinking this way. And maybe you share some thoughts and everyone goes, that's exactly what I was thinking. And you're so fearful to share it. But that's a pretty high level of maturity there that I would love to see a community like that. So, hey, if you're watching, anybody watching that knows of a community like that, I'd love to hear about it. So put it in the chat, in the comment sections in Facebook and YouTube. What else was there? There was one other thing I was thinking about, but yeah, just keep in mind, mark your calendars for March 6, 7, 8, and 9 if you want to come here to Mississippi and be part of the Untethered Meditation Retreat that's going to happen here. And I think that's it for now. Oh, I know what it was. If there's anyone out there, I am putting the word out. I really need some help on my website, and it's a Go High Level website, and I really need people that know Go High Level, that preferably a volunteer, because things are really, really, really tight right now. But if I could get some help in those areas, we could get things hopefully turned around here in the next few months. But really need somebody who knows Go High Level or is techie enough to learn Go High Level that would be willing to help me out. I would greatly appreciate it. So get the word out and help me out, please. All right. Love you all. Stick around for John and Evelyn and the Afterburn. All right. Here goes the outro. Love you guys. Bye-bye. As we close today, remember, we're on a journey together, breaking free from the boxes that limit our understanding of God and ourselves. And each step forward, every choice you make is shaping a new narrative, one where heaven meets earth, and where your unique value shines, and where transformation is not just a possibility, but it's inevitable. You are a vital part of this community, and we are so grateful you've been here. So keep seeking, keep growing, and know that we are making an impact that can change the world. Blessings to you all, and remember to like this broadcast and invite a few friends next week. Love you all, and if you're on Zoom, stick around for the Afterburn with John and Evelyn. I'll see you next week.
In Jesus' name. Recording stopped. Recording in progress.